What if I told you that reality has never been what you thought it was? That what you see, what you touch, what you call the world, is not solid, not permanent, not fixed. It is a mirror, and the mirror bends, reshapes, and reconfigures itself the moment you look at it. This is not poetry, this is physics. In the early 20th century, scientists performed an experiment that would shake the foundation of everything we thought we knew. The double slit experiment. Tiny particles of light, photons, were fired through two narrow slits. When no one watched, they behaved like waves, spreading into infinite possibilities. But when measured, when observed, they shifted. They collapsed into particles, forming a fixed pattern. The simple act of observation changed the outcome. Reality, it seemed, was waiting for someone to look at it, and the moment attention was given, possibility froze into form. Now pause and let this sink in. If observation alters photons, the smallest building blocks of matter, what does your observation do to your life? You are not a passive witness. You are not a powerless bystander. You are the observer, and your gaze is not neutral. It collapses possibilities into outcomes. Think of two people standing in the same storm. One sees destruction, chaos, and loss. The other sees renewal, cleansing, and a chance to rebuild. The storm is the same, but the reality experienced is worlds apart. Why? Because reality bends itself to the lens of observation. Your thoughts are not harmless background noise. Your emotions are not fleeting sparks. They are lenses, frequencies, tuning forks that instruct the field of reality on what to become. Every story you've repeated in your mind, every belief you've inherited, every expectation you quietly hold, they are acts of observation, and they collapse your infinite future into one lived timeline. This is why life so often feels like a mirror reflecting back the same patterns again and again. It is not punishment. It is proof. Proof that consciousness is the architect behind the stage you stand upon. But here's the shift most people never make. They keep looking at the mirror, waiting for it to change. They demand, "Show me something different, and then I will believe differently." Yet reality only works in reverse. First, you shift the observer. Then the reflection bends. This is where science and spirituality intertwine. Joe Dispenza calls it the quantum model of reality. Bob Proctor called it the law of vibration. The language differs, but the truth is the same. Consciousness is primary. Matter is secondary. So look again at your life. Look at the relationships, the struggles, the opportunities. They are not random. They are not fixed. They are entangled with you. They are the ripples of your observation, your frequency, your silent choices, and here is the awakening. You are not trapped in the mirror. You are the one holding it. You can change the story. You can alter the lens. And the moment you do, the reflection must obey. Because reality does not create you. You create reality. What if the world you see is not the world itself, but only the fragments your mind chooses to notice? Your brain is not a camera, recording every detail of reality. It is a filter, a sculptor, a gatekeeper, deciding what enters awareness and what fades into the background. This filter has a name, the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. It is the network in your brainstem that decides which of the millions of signals around you are important, and it listens to only one master, your attention. Think of the last time you wanted something deeply. Perhaps you dreamed of buying a new car. Suddenly, that exact car seemed to appear everywhere, on highways, in parking lots, passing by your street. It was not that the car multiplied overnight. It was your focus that shifted. Your auras tuned into what you had chosen to observe, and the universe obeyed. Here's the hidden truth. What you repeatedly notice expands. What you constantly dwell upon becomes your lived reality. If your attention is consumed by fear, you begin to see reasons to fear. If your attention is soaked in gratitude, you begin to see proof of blessings. The external world reflects the frequency you bring into focus. Science calls it selective perception. Spirituality calls it the law of vibration. Both agree on one thing: where attention goes, energy flows. Now imagine two people walking into the same crowded room. One notices only judgmental stares, awkward silences, and reasons to feel small. The other notices welcoming smiles, open hands, and opportunities to connect. The room is the same. The reality lived is not. This is the observer effect inside your own mind. Your thoughts are not neutral glances, they are spotlights. And whatever you shine them on begins to grow. This is why cycles repeat. The person who believes they are always abandoned notices every slight, every silence, every absence, until the pattern fulfills itself. The person who believes they are worthy of love notices kindness, warmth, and connection, until that pattern fulfills itself. Attention is not passive. Attention is creation, and yet here lies the paradox. Most of your attention is not conscious. It is hijacked by old wounds, looping stories, and subconscious programs written long ago. You think you are choosing, but often the past is choosing for you. But the moment you awaken, the moment you reclaim your gaze, something shifts. You realize you are not the prisoner of your attention. You are the director of it, and when you consciously redirect your focus, you redirect your frequency. When you choose to notice opportunity instead of limitation, beauty instead of despair, love instead of fear, the universe rearranges itself to match. Because what you look for, you will find, and what you find becomes your world. So here is the shift. No longer scatter your attention on what drains you. No longer fix your gaze on the reflection of the old self. Instead, choose. Choose to notice the whispers of alignment, the signs of possibility, the signals of abundance. For attention is not just looking. Attention is building. It is painting. It is collapsing the infinite into the visible. When you understand this, you stop waiting for the world to prove itself to you. You begin proving yourself to the world. Because the truth is simple. Every time you look, you are creating. Every time you focus, you are sculpting. Every time you choose, you are writing the script of your reality. What if the greatest laboratory is not out there, but inside your own mind? Science has shown us that a single act of observation can shift photons from infinite possibility into a single outcome. But here's the truth. This principle does not stop at particles. It extends into you, into your subconscious, into the invisible patterns shaping your life. Every thought you repeat, every belief you carry, every quiet expectation you whisper beneath your breath is a measurement. And each measurement collapses possibility into form. You are not just looking at the world, you are programming it. Think about it. When you expect disappointment, you notice the smallest signs of rejection. When you believe you're unworthy, you interpret silence as judgment and kindness as suspicion. Your belief becomes the lens, and your lens bends reality. This is the observer effect within you. Your subconscious does not sleep. It is always watching, always measuring, always collapsing futures into the one that matches what you hold as true. Psychology calls it confirmation bias. Spirituality calls it creation. But the mechanism is the same. What you assume, you find. What you expect, you live. Imagine this. Two people walk into the same interview. One believes, deep down, I am not enough. Their body stiffens, Their answers falter, their eyes drop, and the reality they collapse is rejection. The other believes, I am capable, I am ready. Their presence expands, their words flow, their energy fills the room, and the reality they collapse is opportunity. It is the same company, the same questions, the same moment. But two entirely different worlds emerge. Not because the world was different, but because the observer was. This is the paradox of being human. You think you are reacting to reality, when in truth, reality is reacting to you. Your unconscious patterns, the stories written by your childhood, the memories etched by pain, the expectations handed down by family, have been observing reality for you. And in doing so, they have been creating your present. This is why life can feel like a loop. The same heartbreaks, the same struggles, the same outcomes. Not because fate is cruel, but because the observer inside you has not changed. But here is the awakening. The moment you shift the observer, you shift the outcome. The moment you become aware of the program, you stop being run by it. Awareness itself is observation, and observation itself is creation. Amit Goswami once said, "Consciousness is the ground of being," which means this: the world does not shape your awareness shapes the world. So the question is not, why is life this way? The real question is, what am I assuming that makes it this way? Because every assumption, every belief, every expectation is collapsing the quantum field into your lived reality. And when you finally see this, when you take back the role of conscious observer, the loop breaks. The past loses its grip, and the future opens wide. Here is your shift. Stop living as the unconscious observer. Start living as the conscious creator, for the same principle that bends photons is bending your life. What if the thoughts you think were never separate from the feelings you carry? What if every idea you hold in your mind is braided with an emotion in your heart? And together, they send a message the universe cannot ignore. This is the entanglement of thought and feeling. In quantum physics, entanglement means two particles remain mysteriously connected no matter the distance between them. Change one, and the other shifts instantly. It defies logic. It dissolves the idea of separation. Now imagine that within you, your thoughts and your emotions are just as entangled. Your mind broadcasts the blueprint, your heart provides the electricity, and together, they form the signal you are constantly transmitting into the quantum field. You felt this before, though you may not have had the language for it. Think of the times you tried to think positive, but deep inside, you still carried fear. The affirmation was there, but the feeling was incoherent. And so, nothing changed. Because your thought and your feeling were not entangled. They were pulling in opposite directions. Coherence is the secret. When your mind and your heart agree, reality bends. Science shows that the electromagnetic field of your heart is thousands of times stronger than that of your brain. It extends beyond your body, interacting with the space around you. When your thoughts align with this field, they amplify, they broadcast with power. They ripple outward and rearrange the very structure of the world you walk into. This is why two people can walk into the same room, face the same challenge, and create two different outcomes. One person carries fear, doubt, and contraction. The other carries faith, gratitude, and expansion. The external circumstance is the same, but the field they broadcast determines the reality they collapse. Your life has never been shaped by thoughts alone. It has always been shaped by thought-feeling entanglement. Think of a memory, a moment when you were in love or profoundly grateful. Notice how the thought of that moment alone is not enough. The image in your mind only comes alive when the emotion floods your body. This union, image and emotion, thought and feeling, is the recipe the universe responds to. Here's the truth. Your inner world does not stay inside you. It radiates, it rearranges, it speaks a language older than words. And so the question is no longer, what are you thinking? The question is, what are you feeling while you think it? When thought and feeling entangle, you stop sending static into the field. You begin broadcasting music, you create coherence, and coherence collapses new possibilities into form. This is your invitation to bring your heart into harmony with your mind, to let gratitude infuse your vision, to let love energize your intention. Because when thought and feeling move as one, you are no longer wishing for change, you are commanding it. What if the person you believe yourself to be is the very reason your reality never changes? What if the identity you defend, your story, your wounds, your name tag of suffering, is nothing more than an old wave function waiting for you to collapse it once and for all? This is the collapse of the old self. In quantum mechanics, the unobserved particle exists as a cloud of infinite possibilities. Only when observed does it fall into one fixed position. Your self works the same way. Each day when you wake up and immediately recall who you were yesterday, the problems, the disappointments, the labels, you collapse into the same particle, the same person, the same life. And so the loop continues, not because life is punishing you, but because you keep observing yourself through the lens of the old self. Think about it. Every morning you open your eyes and say, I am this person. I've always been this way. These are my limits. This is my story. And the quantum field, listening with perfect neutrality, replies, as you wish. But here's the truth no one tells you. Who you believe yourself to be is the most powerful observation you will ever make. Identity is the collapse. This is why change feels so difficult. You are not fighting the world out there. You are wrestling with the version of you in here. The past self who clings to control. The past self who insists on staying alive. To shift timelines, this self must dissolve. It is a death, yes, but not the death you fear. It is the death of the false observer, the one who sees through trauma, through lack, through fear. And in that surrender, a rebirth occurs, a higher observer emerges, a self who no longer filters reality through old pain, but through possibility. You've felt fragments of this before. The moment you finally let go of a relationship that was poisoning you, the day you realized you weren't broken, just repeating what you had been taught. The time you surprised yourself with courage you didn't know you had. Each moment was a small funeral for the old self, and a quiet birth of the new. Cinematically, it is a burning. The ashes of what you thought you were fertilize the soil for who you truly are. But here is the paradox. You cannot force this death. You cannot cling to the new while still holding the corpse of the old. The collapse only happens when you surrender. Your certainty, when you stop observing yourself through the same familiar lens. It feels like standing naked in the unknown, and that is why so many resist. But it is in this void, this black space of unknowing, where the wave function blooms again. Infinite selves waiting to be chosen. Ask yourself, what if today you refused to recall the person you were yesterday? What if you stopped rehearsing your wounds like lines in a play? What if you dared to observe yourself not as a prisoner of the past, but as the architect of the future? Because the moment you stop collapsing the old self, the new self appears. And when that happens, you are no longer recycling yesterday's identity. You are creating tomorrow's reality, so let the old self die. Let the loop collapse. Step into the unknown with empty hands and a willing heart. For only in the death of who you were can the truth of who you are finally be born. What if the universe was never speaking in words, but in vibrations? What if reality itself is a song, and you, with every thought, every breath, every emotion, are the instrument playing it? This is the secret. Everything is frequency. Quantum physics has whispered it for decades. At the deepest level, matter is not solid. Atoms are not fixed walls of reality. They are oscillations, vibrations, patterns of energy moving in rhythm. And here's the truth: so are you. Your thoughts carry frequency. Your emotions broadcast a signal. Your body is not simply flesh and bone. It is a resonating field, constantly tuning itself to the energy you embody. Anger vibrates at one frequency. Fear vibrates at another. Gratitude, love, and joy radiate at higher, coherent vibrations. And the quantum field responds with perfect precision, because resonance is law. Two frequencies alike will always find each other. They cannot help it. It is the magnetism of the universe. You've experienced this in your own life. Think of the days when everything seemed to go wrong at once. One frustration spilled into another, as though the world was conspiring against you. But it wasn't conspiracy. It was coherence. Your inner agitation calling forth more of itself, resonating with similar frequencies around you. And then there are other days when you wake up with gratitude in your chest. When kindness pours out of you without effort. Suddenly synchronicities appear, the right people cross your path. The day bends in your favor. Again, not coincidence, but resonance. You attract not what you want, but what you are vibrating. This is why the language of creation is not spoken through wishful thinking alone. You can say the words, you can write the affirmation. But if the emotion underneath is lack, if the vibration is fear, then that is the frequency you are broadcasting. The universe does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you feel. Imagine your body as a tuning fork. Every emotion you allow is a note struck upon it. Strike anger, and you vibrate with chaos. Strike gratitude, and you vibrate with coherence. Strike love, and the whole field begins to rearrange itself around you. Scientists, like Joe Dispenza, remind us that elevated emotions are not fluffy ideals. They are measurable states. They change the chemistry of your body, the electrical patterns of your brain, and the electromagnetic field of your heart. They are physics. They are creation. So ask yourself, what music are you playing into the field? What frequency do you embody as you walk through your day? Because no matter what you think you are asking for, the frequency you hold is the only language the universe can hear. And here's the shift. You are not a victim of the frequency you were taught. You can retune. You can choose. Every moment is a chance to lift your vibration from fear into trust, from anger into compassion, from scarcity into gratitude. And the moment you do, reality begins to echo the new song. Because when you change your frequency, you do not just change your mood. You change the language you are speaking to creation itself, and the universe always replies in fluent resonance. What if the reason your manifestations haven't appeared yet is because you are still trying to create them as the old you? What if the future you desire cannot be reached by effort, but only by identity? This is the quantum identity shift. In the quantum field, possibilities are infinite. Every version of you, the wealthy one, the healed one, the confident one, the loved one, already exists as a wave of potential. The question is not whether it's possible. The question is, which version are you collapsing through your observation of self because you do not manifest what you want? You manifest who you are. Here's the paradox. Most people try to manifest from the wrong starting point. They keep rehearsing the identity of lack while asking for abundance. They cling to the identity of sickness while affirming health. They stay loyal to the story of rejection while longing for love. And the field, listening without judgment, mirrors back the vibration of the self they are being. Identity is the magnet. Psychology confirms this truth. Neuroscience shows that habits are not just what you do. They are reflections of who you believe you are. Your brain wires itself according to identity. Repetition sculpts circuits, beliefs reinforce pathways, and soon you are not simply acting like your old self. You are chemically addicted to being them. But here's the liberating truth. Neuroplasticity means you are never fixed. Your brain can rewire, your identity can shift. You can step into the self who already lives the life you desire. Not tomorrow, but now. Think of a time when you had to grow into a new role. Perhaps you became a parent, a leader, an artist, or a healer. At first it felt foreign. You doubted if you could embody it. But the more you acted from that identity, the more natural it became. Eventually, it wasn't something you did. It was simply who you were. Manifestation is the same. It is not about forcing outcomes. It is about embodying the frequency of the one who already has it. If the future you is confident, you begin acting from confidence today. If the future you is abundant, you embody gratitude and generosity now. If the future you is healed, you stop rehearsing the language of wounds and begin moving as if wholeness is already yours. This is not pretending. This is entanglement. When you emotionally align with the frequency of the version you desire, you draw it to you. You become a resonant match, collapsing that identity into form. Ask yourself, who do I believe myself to be right now? And who must I become in order to align with the reality I seek? The shift begins the moment you stop chasing and start embodying. The moment you stop asking, when will it come? And begin declaring, it is who I am. Because here's the truth. Your reality is always a reflection of your identity. Change the self you observe, and the mirror of life changes instantly. This is the quantum leap, stepping into the version of you who already lives the life you've been waiting for. And the moment you claim that identity, not someday, but now, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. What if every path you could ever walk is already here? What if your future is not ahead of you, but beside you, stacked like endless reels of film, waiting for the light of your attention to bring one into motion? This is the field of infinite possibilities. Quantum physics tells us that before observation, a particle does not exist in one fixed state. It exists in superposition, as many states at once, infinite versions of reality hovering in potential. Only when observed does one collapse into form. And here's the truth. Your life operates the same way. Every version of you already exists. The abundant you, the broken you, the healed you, the joyful you, the grieving you. None of them are imaginary. All of them exist as waves of possibility, waiting for the projector of your consciousness to choose which film will play. Imagine standing in a vast library, shelf after shelf, stretching into eternity. Each book contains a different story of your life. Some nearly identical, others wildly different. You are not here to write the library. You are here to choose which book you will open. And the act of opening it, of observing it, is what makes it real. This is why two people can face the same external situation, yet collapse entirely different realities. One sees failure and chooses despair. Another sees opportunity and chooses growth. The external event is the same, but the story they project onto it collapses a different reel, a different film, a different future. Here's the paradox. Most people do not choose consciously. They replay the same film every day because they keep identifying with the same old self. They open the same book, read the same lines, and call it fate. But it is not fate. It is repetition. The field does not limit you. It waits for you. Think of the moments in your life when you shifted timelines without even realizing it. Perhaps you made a single decision to move to a new city, to leave a toxic relationship, to pursue a dream, and suddenly your entire reality branched into something unrecognizable. That was not random. That was you collapsing into a new possibility. The field has always been infinite. What changed was your choice of observation. Here is the humility of this truth. Your consciousness is unimaginably powerful. You are holding the projector that decides which reel of reality plays. Every thought, every assumption, every feeling is the act of pointing the light. But here is the empowerment. You are never trapped. No matter how many times you've collapsed into fear, lack, or limitation, there are infinite other reels still waiting. You can choose again. You can collapse a different possibility now. Ask yourself, what reel am I playing on repeat? What story am I collapsing every day without realizing it? And what film have I been too afraid to project because the field does not judge? It only mirrors. This is your invitation to step back into the library of infinite selves and choose differently. To lift the projector of your awareness and aim it toward a higher vision. For the truth is simple. You are never waiting for your future. Your future is waiting for you. And the moment you choose it, the reel begins to play. What if the greatest power you could ever wield was not control, but awareness? What if the act of simply observing, with clarity, with presence, with neutrality, was the very force that shapes your life? This is what it means to live as the observer. In quantum physics, the observer effect reveals a paradox. Particles remain in wave form, infinite and uncollapsed, until they are observed. The mere act of observation changes what is possible. Consciousness decides reality. Your life is no different. The moment you step into awareness, the moment you watch yourself without judgment, you are already altering the future, because awareness collapses unconscious patterns. Most people never live as the observer. They live as the reactor, pulled by emotion, chained by memory, hypnotized by old patterns of thought. They are so entangled with the movie of their life that they forget. They are not the character on the screen. They are the one holding the projector. Living as the observer means stepping back. It means detachment, not as disconnection, but as clarity. It means you are no longer lost inside the storm of your emotions, but able to watch them, to feel them, to choose differently. Imagine two people facing the same event, the loss of a job. One collapses into despair, replaying every fear of unworthiness. The other pauses, observes the fear without becoming it, and chooses to see opportunity. The external event is identical. The inner observer makes the difference. Here's the truth. When you live as the observer, you are no longer imprisoned by circumstance. You are liberated into choice. This is why presence is the heart of quantum creation. Mindfulness is not just a spiritual practice. It is the mechanics of consciousness. Each moment you observe your thoughts, each time you notice your emotions without drowning in them, you reclaim the power to collapse a different reality. Gratitude deepens this power. To observe life and choose gratitude is to tune your frequency to abundance. To observe the present and choose appreciation is to amplify coherence. Gratitude is not passive. It is an active observation that rewrites the field. Living as the observer is not about withdrawing from life. It is about participating from a higher state of awareness. You still feel, you still act, but you no longer confuse the storm for the sky. You no longer mistake the passing thought for who you are. You are the witness, the one who sees, the one who chooses where to place the focus. And wherever you place that focus, reality responds. Here is the shift. You are not here to chase outcomes, to force reality into shape. You are here to become the conscious observer who chooses with presence, gratitude, and intention. Because when you live as the observer, you are no longer pushed around by unconscious programs. You are sculpting reality with awareness itself. The truth is simple. You are not the thought. You are not the fear. You are the one who sees them. And the moment you remember this, you stop being a prisoner of reality and begin to be its creator. What if the greatest laboratory was not out there, but in here? What if the double slit experiment was never just about photons and electrons, but about you? This is the awakening. You are the experiment. For centuries, scientists have stared in awe at the quantum world. They discovered that particles do not behave like solid objects, but as waves of infinite potential, until someone watches. Observation itself changes the outcome. Reality rearranges under the gaze of awareness, and here is the revelation most people miss. This is not just a principle of physics, it is the principle of your life. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every story you rehearse. Each one is an act of observation. Each one is collapsing a possibility into form. You are not separate from the experiment. You are the consciousness directing it. You are both the scientist and the subject, the observer and the observed. This is why your awareness is the most sacred force you carry. Because what you place it on expands. What you energize with feeling crystallizes. What you assume as identity becomes the self you live. Think about it. Two people can walk through the same world and yet live in different universes. One sees hostility, lack, and betrayal everywhere. Another sees kindness, opportunity, and love. Their external environment may be identical, but the reality each collapses is a mirror of the observation they bring. Your life has never been a punishment. It has always been feedback. A mirror reflecting no what you deserve, but what you are observing. Here's the truth. If you wake up tomorrow and recall only the same old identity, you collapse the same old reality. But if you wake up and dare to shift your observation, to focus on gratitude, to embody love, to assume wholeness, you collapse a new reality. The field does not argue, it only reflects. And so the awakening is this: you are not at the mercy of life. Life is at the mercy of your observation. Yes, the unknown can feel terrifying. To step beyond the familiar story is to walk into a space of infinite potential, where nothing is guaranteed. But that is exactly where creation begins. The laboratory of your consciousness does not need certainty. It needs focus. It needs feeling. It needs the courage to observe something higher than what your past has taught you. Imagine this. Every moment of your day is a trial. Every thought is a hypothesis. Every emotion is data. And the results are recorded in the reality that unfolds before you. The question is never whether the experiment works, it always does. The question is, what experiment are you running? If you live as fear, life proves you right. If you live as love, life proves you right. Reality bends to the assumptions you test. This is your invitation to awaken, to see yourself as the living experiment, to realize that your consciousness is not passive, but generative. Not fragile, but infinitely creative. Because the truth is not out there in a textbook or a laboratory. The truth is in you. You are the wave function waiting to collapse. You are the scientist holding the lens of awareness. You are the experiment unfolding in real time, and the moment you awaken to this, is the moment you stop waiting for reality to change. You realize you are the change.